In this segment, we'll introduce you to the basic operations of the CabinetSense Material Palette. The palette serves two purposes in your model. First, it colorizes your model. Secondly, it documents the materials that you'll use in your shop when you're building your cabinets. The palette contains several different sections. There's the actual materials, so you can document the interior and exterior side of your panel, the substrate the panel uses. You can document any finishes you might want to use, as well as laminates and edge banding. We're going to start off with an empty palette, meaning no colors have been chosen, and our cabinet comes out white, which is the default color when there is no color chosen. We'll go into the carcass, and we could select what our interior color or texture is, exterior color of the panel, and the substrate. We can also simply choose what we want to use as the substrate. So if you didn't care what the substrate was and what the inside and outside was, if it's simply a maple plywood, for example, and you wanted to use maple, just choose maple. All of the components that are using that palette will change as you change the colors. You have a choice of using the drop-down to select predefined colors and materials set up in the CabinetSense Material Library, and we'll get into that in a later session. You can also use a material picker. And here I have downloaded several different JPEGs off the internet, and I'm going to choose a natural bamboo JPEG. CabinetSense has come back and asked me to verify the grain of this particular image. We've chosen horizontal because that's what CabinetSense thinks it is, and you can either change it or simply click OK. We'll click Apply, and our bamboo is now selected. You'll notice in the palette, in the substrate, you're seeing a horizontal and a vertical of the bamboo, as well as the maple. Let's just open up the door so we can see what's inside. You can change the grain direction on any part. Also, you'll notice that the leading edge of the cabinet parts are white. And the reason that is we've chosen an exposed edge banding. However, in our palette, we haven't selected a material yet. So we could go in and select bamboo again, or a better way is to simply say, use the same material as something else. So in this case, we probably want to use the same edge banding material that our doors and drawer fronts are made out of. So I'll just say that, use the same as Millwork 1. And Millwork 1 is using natural bamboo. Of course, this has the benefit that if I decided to change the material for our millwork, our edge banding also changes. We'll go ahead and choose a material for our drawer. And we're pretty much ready to go. We're going to do a little bit more complicated example. Let's duplicate both cabinet and palette. Every palette has a name. So right now, both palettes are named default. I'll change this name to Test. Now, both palettes are using exactly the same material. If I go into this cabinet, in its material group, I can change the reference. Now when I go and start changing colors and textures and materials, that cabinet starts to respond. Okay, for this example, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that we're using different material on each side of the panel. So in fact, we're using particle board with maple and white on the inside. Notice that the interior parts also have white on one side and maple on the other. Probably not what we want. So let's assume that we want our interior pieces to be simply white melamine. This is one of the reasons why we have Carcass 2. So we can go back to our palette, and in Carcass 2 we could document that it is white melamine, particle board, and white melamine. Or we can use referencing again and simply by saying use everything that CS Carcass 1 uses, we get the exact same result. So let's just go in. We'll choose this one for now. You'll notice Carcass 2 is exactly the same definition as Carcass 1. If I go back to Carcass 2 and simply change the exterior side to be white, and it's changed. It's now white on both sides. So if your shop works like this, you could set up all of your interior parts as being Carcass 2, your exterior of your cabinet being Carcass 1, and you can easily control what material it's using. Okay. You'll notice now that we're using actual substrates and each side of the panel is a different material or texture, you are seeing the actual substrate as well. And if your shop is one of those where you physically assign edge banding in your model, then this might really help you to determine if you've missed any edge banding. If you're a shop that doesn't signify the edge banding in your model, you can go to the preferences and we have a section, in material, and one of the options is to put the default edge material, and I'll just make it change to exterior. And so now it looks very much finished, and any edge banding that you have declared will be shown properly. And of course, new in version 9, all your edges can be edge banded. So I've changed this back edge to a scribe. It's white. So again, if we go back to our group, nothing was chosen, so let's choose black. And that is pretty much the basic on how to use palettes and have different palettes in your model. Thank you for watching.